Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Bernadette Kirkus, who is here with Escrow Options. Bernadette, it's been a while. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. We've been doing lots of interviews this way, so you're probably, I feel like my, 300th. It's been it's been a long several weeks. But nonetheless, I just wanted to touch base with you because I understand you guys are now open.
Right.
So give me an idea, for the last several weeks, what have you guys been doing? Is it sort of behind the scenes type thing, or what have you been doing now?
So we have been still fully operational with the exception of obviously allowing the public to come into our office or for having our staff members see the public in any way. So we have been doing a lot of Zoom meetings. We're still processing escrows from beginning to end. We are still able to have notaries meet with clients, obviously with the social distancing. Our staff is supplied with masks and gloves and all of the sanitary necessities needed to work in the offices. We are fortunate to have offices that allow each one of our escrow officers to be within their own confined office space with their door closed. So there's not a lot of, small areas where everybody has to kind of congregate in one small spot. So we've been very diligent about making sure that we are doing everything that the CDC is recommending, but still fully operational, full staff. We're still able to process escrows, like I said, and it's just been different.
Yeah, well, originally the real estate agents were not considered essential. And then all of a sudden they were considered essential. And of course, looking at buying homes and things like that, you don't necessarily have to be looking at the home, although I know people like to, but there were things that were done online. But
Right.
then the real estate agents became essentials, and then they could do virtual tours as well as like one-on-one and things like that. So I'm imagining that your business has picked up since that's happened, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So it obviously did take a little bit of a hit at the beginning of all of this crazy COVID-19 pandemic, but that makes sense. People are just unsure. And whenever there's an uncertainty, the last thing people are thinking about is selling or purchasing property at that time. But I think once everybody kind of started realizing that, this is a new norm, there are different things that we have to do now, but we can still go on with, our lives and how everything is. And the real estate market, as far as pricing, didn't get affected at all throughout this. Prices are still great. Rates are still great. And like you said, as soon as agents were able to get verified as essential, they were able to do the virtual walkthroughs. And yeah, like you said, viewing appointments only. I think a lot of them are still practicing that, so there still isn't big open houses yet, or at least not that I know of. But they're doing everything that they can. They've heavily been dealing with social media, which I think is fantastic because that was something that some agents did and some agents shied away from. And this has kind of forced them to use technology a little bit more. So it's been great to see all the different things that real estate agents have been able to do during this time and how to still make their business work and how to still help people that did need to make a move during a time like this.
Exactly. And I've seen a lot of that too. So that's been helpful, I'm sure. So when someone is actually thinking about purchasing a home, what do they need to think about? Because you're an escrow company and sometimes the real estate agents already have an escrow company. And so we don't normally think about why we would want to choose an escrow company. So could you help me understand and help our residents understand why it's important to think about that?
Sure. So escrow is considered one of the service providers in an actual real estate transaction, and it has to be done. You have to have escrow on a transaction. Typically it is the seller's choice of services, but the real estate agent will already have a relationship with an escrow company. And so, they want to work with who they trust. And a lot of times the consumer, the seller or the buyer, just either don't know what escrow is, obviously don't have connections with escrow, that kind of a thing. So they rely on the trust of their real estate agent. However, if they educate themselves a little bit more about what escrow actually does, which is hold all of the money in the transaction, make sure it's all distributed accurately, as well as make sure that, fraud doesn't happen during the transaction at all. They can bring up some very serious questions to their real estate agent when they are ready to purchase or sell a home. A couple of questions would be, you know, is this escrow company SSAE certified? What are they doing to protect my funds and my identity when I'm in escrow? Where are they located? Do they have a Laguna Woods specialist? You know, there's a couple of questions that go hand in hand with making sure that the right person is in place for that.
I'm certainly, I guess I'm shocked because, you know, you do trust your real estate agent, and I never even thought that there would be any issues of fraud or security or something like that associated with those monies. Does it happen a lot where people have had fraud?
Yes, there was actually a pretty recent one. If you just look it up, escrow fraud in San Diego. There was a very recent one where they lost their entire life savings due to wire fraud. So, you know, then there's just certain escrow companies that just don't have the necessary precautions or policies in place. And it could be just because they're a smaller boutique escrow company, or that they are a broker-owned escrow company as well. So they're smaller and just don't have the infrastructure to be able to limit that risk and liability. Mm-hmm. Luckily for us, we are an independent escrow company, so we have the means to be able to do so. And it always has been one of our prioritized things, is to make sure that we are secure, because not only do we want to make sure our clients don't lose their money in escrow, but we want to protect the reputation of the real estate agent as well as our own reputation. We want to continue to do business, and the best way to do that is to protect said business.
Yeah, well, that's good to know, because it does seem scary that you put all your money into somewhere you're not really familiar with.
Right.
Something like that happens, and that is just amazing that it can still happen, right? So,
right. And it's not just money, it's personal information as well. I mean, identity theft is a huge problem also. So it's just making sure that both of those items are, you know, very secure.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that there are many escrow companies out there who don't have the security you're talking about?
Unfortunately, yes. There are a lot more that don't have it than do have it. So I'm hoping that in the next couple of years that we start seeing a change there, so that it just becomes a safer industry in general. Because buying real estate is probably the largest investment anyone is going to make in their lifetime. If not the largest investment. This could be somebody's retirement. This could be somebody's entire life savings. This could be something that somebody's passing down to their children. You know, it's a really big deal. So to make sure that nothing goes wrong during the transaction is what I believe is priority number one. Make sure that the escrow company on the transaction is, you know, very, very capable of caring for that, for those clients. One of the things that we have an upper hand on is not only do we have all these security measures in place, which some companies do, but we are the only escrow company in California, I believe pretty much in the United States as well, that has been personally trained by the FBI on wire fraud and cyber theft. So, you know, we've even taken it a step further in that regards.
Yeah, well, that's just amazing, and the fact that you know the ins and outs and why it happens just makes it that much better for the client. So great information. I appreciate it. You look great. You know, our stay-at-home stuff is either helping us personally in some cases or our garden.
Yeah, there's good filters on this camera.
I want the same. Thank you. All right. Well, it was good to talk with you, and hopefully we'll have to do again soon.
Yep. Wonderful. Thanks so much, Lisa.
You're welcome. And we'll be right back after this.